It's Tasha. I am back with another video. Thank you so much for stopping into my channel. Today is Married at First Sight. Yay! How many more episodes do we have? Oh my god. My voice is back for the most part, so this video should be much better than the video we did last week. But we are here to review Married at First Sight Season 12, Episode 13, Unanswered Questions. Y'all, you're gonna have to bear with me today. I am going to try not to make this video super long, but a lot went down in the episode last night, so we got to discuss it all. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button before you get out of here if you are not already subscribed. Like, and y'all know the drill. Comment down below because I be wanting to chat with y'all. I need to know if y'all think this is just as crazy as I think it is. Okay. All right, let's jump into the video. All right, y'all, so we are 19 days away from decision day when the episode opens, and then we see it opens with Virginia and Eric, and Virginia's sister is visiting them with her nephews. So of course she's like, oh, I haven't seen y'all since the wedding. How has everything been going? And Eric's like, everything's great. And we're like, oh, okay, we're gonna start the episode with the BS just right out the gate like that? Oh, okay. Because we know last week y'all ain't doing great. But if we want to keep telling that version of the story, go right on ahead. So Virginia's sister does share that she has not been in a lot of serious relationships. I mean, that's pretty obvious. Number one, because she's young. And number two, she still has a lot of expectations regarding, how she can move in marriage that we can tell it's not like conducive of she's had really serious relationships where she's had to make a lot of adjustments and compromise in her life. So we knew that, sister, but thank you for clearing that up. Eric take the boys outside with the dog, so of course they can chat. And she's like, are my kids safe to go outside with him? And Virginia takes a hard pause. And I'm like, girl, you about to act like you putting your nephews in danger? But no, so Virginia then says, that there are some concerns. She talks about, their difference in political views, because we know Eric is MAGA country all day, every day. So we can see that. But other than that, they don't get too deep. But I'm hoping maybe off camera, her sister dug deeper and was able to really bring some things into perspective for her so that she could have some other advice to go on other than, talking with the other girls or definitely the brainwashing that Eric is doing. So we then see Bree and Vincent. They are going over their budget. And did y'all see Vincent hair in the scene? Like, he had hair. And I don't think I liked it. Shave it back off. As they are going through their budget, we see that Bree is a big spender, honey. I mean, I know you are single. You don't have any kids. So you work hard and, your money is yours to do however you choose. However, I was like, girl, you need like $400 to spend on clothes every month. This is similar to Woody last season. I'm like, how much new clothes are you needing to buy every single month? Are you going to some red carpet event every month or some gala or somewhere that you need to buy new clothes so often and spending, $400 or $500 on new clothes? I don't know. And then her beauty upkeep, she was like, my waxing and things like that. And homegirl was like $400. I'm like, a month? Who waxing you, Jesus? Like, girl, I'm gonna need you to shop around to see if there are other lower prices for you to get the same quality of services. Cause I mean, I got a wax lady and $400 a month seems excessive. Even if you get in your whole dang body, including your head, wax. Like, that's a bit much, but maybe it's just inflation in Atlanta. I don't know. So they started talking about dates and, Vincent threw out 200 and she was more like the 400, 450 range. And I'm like, Bree, every date doesn't need to be expensive. We're talking about a monthly budget here. Most of your dates are probably going to be on the weekend, and it does not have to be a Ruth's Chris date night every night. Some date nights gonna be Top Golf or TGI Fridays, and that's gonna run you a smooth $50 to $100, and you good to go. Or y'all just order in dinner, catch a movie or something at home, or play games at home. Like, that still is considered dating and courting. That does not equal spending large sums of money for you just to date your spouse. So I'm like, Bree, get it together, child. But once they calculate everything, their expenses were like $9,100 a month. Now, I don't know if they factored in both for their rents right now, since of course they're not in one household technically. So I don't know if everything was double or if this was the expectation of what it will look like once they are under one household. But I was like, whoo, that's a lot of money. A lot of money every single month just to live. Child. But okay, Vincent, when he saw the total, Vincent, like all over his face was like, I don't make that kind of money. Where she think this money coming from? Because I ain't got it. He was sweating bullets pretty much. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm on Team Vincent with this one. Again, I get you work hard, play hard, but you also, when you reach a certain age, you need to be reasonable about the things that you are purchasing, especially when you have a partner and y'all are in this together. Anything could happen at any time. So while, yes, you just want to spend and have fun, what if something happens to your spouse? What if you get a flood in your home and you got to replace everything? What if you have to move out unexpectedly? What if you have to go then buy a new car? And it's like, you just have to think about these things, because that's not even factoring in kids that they want to have. And Vincent wants to have 4 children. Like, if this is expenses now, when you have children, I don't even want to think about it. I don't want to think about it. Now, this episode, Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal are going to do their rounds, visiting each person individually. Dr. Pepper has the girls and Pastor Cal has the guys. So, nope, I'm lying. Sorry. Because Virginia meets with Pastor Cal and they talk about the best things about the marriage. So she says that, they're similar. They have a good time. And again, I'm like, stop skating around the issue. This is the expert. You need to go ahead and talk to them. So she's like, good days are good and our bad days are bad. And I'm like, spit it out, Virginia. So she talks about a source of tension for them, of course, being the kids, because we knew that, of course, there's this age difference between them. Eric's ready now. She's not ready so much. And we know that if she don't have kids, he's gone. He's gone. He done told us that I don't know how many times. He is gone. So she is afraid of not only having children, but she's also afraid, like the physical part of being pregnant and having children, but she's also afraid that she will be a bad mom because of how she grew up. Both of those are definitely 2 total valid concerns. I have 2 children, especially when you have that first one, you like, oh my God, I got this baby in here and this baby got to come out of where now? Okay, too late now. It's in here, so it got to come out. All right, that is a fear. Going to every doctor's appointment is a fear, and especially if you did not have a good childhood growing up, that could be a really fearful thing for you to go through, to bring kids into the world. So she's very valid. But also on the other hand, Virginia, every mom feels this. There is no instruction manual for children. You may screw them up. You may do a great job. You don't know. Things just happen and you just have to adjust and do to the best of your ability that you can as a parent and as a mom. If your child needs therapy after they get old enough, I hope they won't, but if they do, it is what it is. You can only do the best that you can. And at least from your experiences as a child, you know what made you feel some kind of way. So at least that gives you some insight of maybe what not to do, at least with your children, and not be so fearful of just even doing it and having kids because you're afraid you're going to just replicate the same thing. But yeah, they got some issues that they definitely need to work out, of course. And it's more than just that between the 2 of them. We also see that, Pastor Cal also asks her, what marriage looks like for her and what it looks like for him. And she kind of talks about it and it basically looks different. She's like, marriage is, we're in here no matter what, we're going to be together and things like that. And we know that Eric has just thrown around that he's going to leave multiple times if X, Y, and Z doesn't happen. So Pastor Cal encouraged them to have a discussion around that. And I think they have to an extent, but their discussions just haven't been healthy. So I don't know what they need to do about that. Dr. Pepper then meets with Eric. He has on his glasses for this discussion so he can feed Dr. Pepper the BS while looking like a smart little Republican in the making, Dr. Pepper jumps right in. She talks about the blow-ups that they've had, and we see the Rocky situation all over again. He tries to play the role of, just want to be a caring husband, a caring dog dad. That's what she likes. She cares about him. I'm just trying to show her that I care, and I want to protect them. You know how he go. So Dr. Pepper brings up a great point. She says, so if this were a child from a previous relationship and you kind of just jumped in saying you want to do this, you want to fix that, how do you think she would feel about that? Because that would not be appropriate. And then all of a sudden it's like a light bulb has gone off with Eric of, oh, didn't think about it that way. Even though this child has expressed to you how important this dog is to her, that you didn't think about it that way. And now that you've made the connection, that hopefully you'll now just leave it alone. Like, if she cares about you enough and y'all are in this thing together, she will get the dog, lessons or try to work on his behavior and things like that, because she then wants to do it. But the more you try to act like you the dog whisperer and you want to do it, she gonna fight you on it every single time. He then says, as they are talking, that he feels like Virginia is almost too independent. And I'm like, excuse me, sir. So you just basically want, weak-willed, weak-minded woman that's just going to be barefoot and pregnant and voting Republican just like you do. Yeah, that is not Virginia. But he talks about the issues he has with her going out with her friends. Dr. Pepper gives him advice on sitting down with her, looking at, the month ahead of time and kind of seeing what's on the schedule, and then them maybe discussing, what weekend a month maybe it's just going to be exclusively for them, and she won't actually have plans and things with her friends. They also talk about the drinking between, feel like it was mostly Virginia, and Eric tried to put the blame on, this is not me. I've drunk more, but this is not me. Nobody's forcing you to drink, sir. You are old enough to make your own decisions, and you are older than her. So quit acting like you've just been pressured into drinking. If you don't want to drink, don't drink. But Dr. Pepper talks about how they've had kind of their biggest arguments and blow-ups and things while they were drinking. So she wants him to have a talk about, letting some of the drinking go, especially when they need to have discussions. And I appreciate Dr. Pepper for saying it, but I hate that it's him, because Eric is just going to use this as confirmation and ammunition that, yes, I was right. I know what I need to do. And now I'm going to go ahead and tell Virginia what I need to tell her. And I'm going to put it under the guise of because Dr. Pepper told me to. Yes, she did, but I also think they need to have that discussion, but have the discussion with the expert there with them, because this can go downhill real fast, because we know how Virginia feels about her alcohol. Okay? Alcohol. Dr. Pepper then meets with Ryan. He says that things have been great. Sure. Things have been great. And I'm like, again, you not checking in with your wife, because both of y'all just living in fantasy land. He says that a high point is that they just feel so connected. It's like magnets, like they are just so attracted to one another. And I'm just like, oh, really? All right. He says there's no problems that he can think of off the top of his head. And I'm like, are all the guys just being completely delusional during these conversations and think that they're perfect because we see otherwise as viewers on the TV? He says that they have had some discussions around religion, but no real discussion about what that looks like long term when it comes to raising a family, when Dr. Pepper brings that up. And of course, like, you need to have that. That's not an issue you can skate around. So I'm gonna need them to get on top of that, which they do a little bit later on. We'll get to that later in the episode. So Dr. Pepper talks about, them waiting for intercourse, and he says yes. And she's like, well, how does Clara feel about that? And of course, he's so selfish because he's getting off every night. He has not asked Clara how she feels about that, although she has verbalized, oh, I haven't seen you with your shirt off, and we need to have sex, and when you think you'll be ready. I mean, she said things that he should get the hint, but he has not asked her how she feels about it, which I'm like, you dog, Ryan, like, you just getting on my nerves. So Dr. Pepper, again, this is a discussion that she feels like they need to have because she thinks it may be a bigger issue than he realizes. And I'm like, yes, somebody has told Dr. Pepper that the sex is an issue, and bring it up when you talk to Ryan. So Clara then meets with Pastor Cal, and again, she's BSing as well, saying things are great. Experts did a great job. It's a 10 out of 10. This is the best relationship I've been in. And I'm like, girl, did we not just hear you the last minute of the episode last week venting to the girls about how you getting him off every night and you not having sex with him? Y'all are not going to get better or get help if you continue to be fake around each other and the experts. The goal is to not be fake, to make it to decision day, and to just stay married and then get divorced later. Work out the problems now before you have wasted years of your life being with somebody that you are not compatible with. Like, they getting on my nerves. So she talks about him not saying I love you, and says, she seems like she essentially says that she loves him, but she's afraid to tell him because, one, of course, it's a touchy subject, but I think deep down inside, she knows that she won't hear it back. And that may make her resent him or make her feel some kind of way. So she's just avoiding kind of having that discussion at all by just keeping it to herself. We are only, at this point, 4 people in, and I was so aggravated between their conversations and the experts because everything just seemed so fake. When I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity to just let it all out on the table because your spouse is not here, and this particular expert is not talking to your spouse afterwards to kind of tell them or maybe imply what you said. Like, let it out. It's the only way you're going to get it fixed. Oh my God. But when Pastor Cal asks her about sex, she's like, yeah, we're still waiting. And I'm like, again, you're waiting because he is pushing the issue of y'all waiting. This would not be your choice to wait. So again, stop lying. So she then says that he has dated women for months and years with no sex involved. And I'm like, this further confirms to me that this man is a virgin. Like, I don't care what he say, what she say, he is a virgin, which it is nothing wrong with that. But don't keep giving people the runaround. Don't keep lying. Don't keep acting like, oh, it's about building some connection before you want to do it. If you scared, say you scared, Ryan. And I don't know what kind of women he been in a relationship with for months and years that he ain't giving you no sex, or he ain't telling you he love you. Girl, get out of my face with this. So Virginia and Eric, they get back home. They talk about their meeting with the experts. He shares how Dr. Pepper says to just let the situation go with Rocky. And she's like, yay, thank you, Dr. Pepper. And I'm like, yeah, let's see how long that lasts. And then that the drinking with them is a problem, and it kind of, makes arguments worse with them. Virginia says, I think we would have had the arguments that we had regardless of alcohol. And while I do agree with that, we know that alcohol does not make your mental state the clearest. So if you did not have that involved, maybe you could better articulate or at least have it not elevate to the extent that it had. But of course, when he brings this up, Virginia's like, I don't want to talk about it, because she does not even want to address the possibility of not drinking, which she has to address. Rather that you truly just enjoy alcohol and getting drunk. I don't know why somebody would just enjoy feeling inebriated all the time as being a functioning member of society, but it is what it is. But she just needs to figure out what that is, whether it is the social aspect of it, or if it truly is the anxiety piece of it, that the alcohol is a coping mechanism for her. Like, you need to figure out for your own health and sake, you need to figure out what that is, even outside of whatever the nonsense Eric is talking about. She talks about, how they discussed the kids and it being an ultimatum for him. And he's like, no, let's not call it that. That's what it is, Eric. You've already said she don't have kids. I'm out. That is an ultimatum. Either you have kids and I stay, or you don't have kids and I go. Definition of ultimatum. I'm not sure why you're so particular on the verbiage here, but that's exactly what it is. So she talks about, exactly what she said in her meeting with Pastor Cal about, being afraid to give birth and then being afraid to actually be a bad mom. And then Eric goes to turn on the charm. You're going to be a great mom and it's okay to, be afraid. And then she talks about, well, what if I'm actually physically not able to have children? You're going to leave then? He's like, of course not. I'm not going to leave you then. That's something we can't control. I will be here for you. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. Turning on this annoying charm, basically, because when he does that, if she decides to stay with him, she's going to have those kids whether she wants to or not, because she is sort of like the Paige and Chris. The minute he says something sweet, all the other problems and things that y'all have been going through kind of disappears, when in reality, they still there looking at you in the face. So I don't know. They talk about her, going to hang out with her friends. And he is like, you're going to have to be willing to cancel plans for me. we need to be hanging out. You know, if we look at the calendar and we doing this weekend, but if something comes up, you know, being able to still spend time with me. And I'm like, the thought of just being so demanding of you gonna have to cancel plans with your friends. I'm like, probably shouldn't say it like that, but I get where you're coming from. And I see both sides, and I do agree with Eric a little bit in the sense of, you are going to have to make some accommodations. Y'all have different work schedules and different things that come up. And I mean, this is your husband now. You have to make your husband a priority, or well, your spouse in general a priority, or they will feel like they are disposable. And once you do that, you are just setting yourself downhill for your relationship. So you do have to make some concessions, and depending on his work schedule, how far in advance he knows his work schedule. If he's been gone all week and then he finally comes home on the weekend, and it happens to be a weekend that you have plans with your friends, you might need to cancel the plans with your friends because your husband been gone all week and y'all need to spend that time reconnecting with each other. Like, it's gonna have to be a give and take and compromising situation on the two of them, and I don't know if they're gonna be willing to do it. I'm so sorry, my lawn people are here, so I hope it is not picking up too bad on the mic. Claire and Ryan, they meet back up at their apartment, and again, fairy tale land. You know, oh, how was your meeting? How was your meeting? Let's hug and let's snuggle up on the couch as we talk about it. So Ryan asks Clara how religion fits in with their family, and they basically have the same discussion we've heard them have already before. So no new news, nothing been accomplished. Let's move on. She says they will cross that bridge when they get to it. And I'm like, but that's not how this works, Clara. You can't send the kids back once they hear. And once they hear, y'all need to be on the same page about whatever decision that is. So no, you need to talk about it before the bridge is built and the bridge is about to come. So y'all have to figure that out. They talk about sex, and she is not being straightforward with him again. She's like, oh, you know, I just admire you, you know, wanting to wait. And I know kind of the more I bring it up, the more it's going to push you away and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but you keep skating around the issue with him, girl. Everybody else, you seem to be blunt and tell them exactly what it is that you need and you feel an aggravation, but you keep just skipping along the way when it comes to actually talking to Ryan about it. It is so frustrating with her. But she says, she asks him, does he see it happening anytime soon? And he's like, I don't know. Like, it ain't no big deal to him. So, Clara girl, until you figure out what he wants to do, stop getting him off every night. Whatever that is that y'all doing, getting him off every night, stop it. And I bet you he'll come to his senses real quick. But as long as you pleasing him, he has no need to do anything to please you, okay? So Dr. Pepper meets with Paige, and she apologizes immediately, and I'm here for this whole conversation they about to have. She says that Paige is the superior human being, Chris is a narcissist, and she does not want Paige to take that garbage. And she said it with her chest, and she said, I do not want to mix words here. So she's like, keep it, don't edit what I'm saying out, because I mean what I said, and I said what I mean, okay? Get it, Dr. Pepper. So Dr. Pepper says that Chris doesn't think of anyone but himself. When Paige asks why he would sign up for this, although the door wasn't completely closed with his ex. And I'm like, Dr. Pepper can't answer that. You can't answer that. Chris got to answer why he did this and why he was such an asshole about it. Dr. Pepper encouraged her to just keep her boundaries and her feelings first and just onward and upward. And I just really hope that Paige really sticks with that and she's able to stick with her guns and not fall for his BS again. She does say that she need to ask him on decision day, you know, why he really didn't give them a shot. Their marriage kind of dropped within like a month. And I'm like, baby girl. All right, y'all, I'm sorry. I'm trying to diminish the noise from them cutting the lawn. But when she says that, I'm like, Paige, there's really no need to. Like, he's giving you all these excuses of things of, you know, he's not attracted to you, then he'll gaslight you, and then he want to sleep with you, and then he wants you to meet Mercedes, and then he wants y'all to do Bible study. Like, he's giving you everything that you need. We don't need no additional clarity. None. Just show up for decision day. I wish to get a divorce and walk out the room. Chris then meets with Pastor Cal. Y'all, oh my God, my nerves were tore up this whole conversation with him and Pastor Cal. I wanted to reach through my TV, smacked the shit out of Chris and his mama and his daddy. Okay, it aggravated my nerves so much. So first off, he's late. He's almost an hour late, and Pastor Cal then looks at production. He's like, "Are we wrapping?" Because he's not waiting anymore. And then here comes his little ugly face with his little crop pants on, just as they are about to wrap things up. He just annoys the pits of my soul. He apologized for being late, but he does not give a real reason as to why he is late. They start talking about Paige. He then goes in pretty much. He says that, again, it's her physical features, more so her face. It's just not attractive to him. If he saw her at like a bar or church or something, he wouldn't approach her because basically she's ugly. He basically says, you know, there's so many beautiful women in Atlanta. He's basically not sure as to why, out of all the beautiful, gorgeous women in the city, why they picked ugly face Paige. I just don't know why he think he's fine, or even cute for that matter. Like, you are not anybody's option either, Chris. Paige is beautiful. You, on the other hand, if I saw you at a bar or church, I would not approach you, sir, because you are not cute. Facially challenged, whatever you want to call it, it ain't cute. And your attitude makes it even worse. So I just don't understand why he think he is such a catch. When Pastor Cal asked about letting the attraction grow, he said that he did. And I'm like, lie. You did not let the attraction grow. You played with this girl the whole time and used her for sex while you could, until she eventually came to her senses. Pastor Cal says he needs to evaluate how he handles a relationship, because now, of course, he's had a failed marriage and he has had 2 failed engagements. And again, he still doesn't think he is a problem. He thinks it is everybody else and it ain't him. And I just can't even stand to look at him at this point. I don't see how Pastor Cal did it, because it couldn't be me. No, ma'am. But Chris, we know he just ain't gonna do better. We all would hope, after he saw himself on TV and the shenanigans that he pulled, that he would actually see what a disgusting human being he is. But we know he won't, because he don't care enough. So Pastor Cal starts asking him, you know, about the ex being pregnant and things like that. And he's like, you know, why did they need to meet? Why did you need to tell her that you got the car? And this Negro had the nerve to say, I asked if she wanted to come with us to get the car. What? Why? Why would Paige need to come with you to pick out a car for your ex-fiance? And then, to put the cherry on top, he says that the next step is he wants to get our house, because he's built all this and he doesn't want his child or anything to need for anything. Like, what? I don't know what world he lives in, but Pastor Cal's face throughout this whole encounter was my face. And I just couldn't even believe that the things that comes out of his mouth could just get any worse than what he's already given us at this point. I'm just like, he's just a child. He said he does not owe Paige an apology. And I'm like hell, yes, you do. I don't understand, but he just will not grow up, and he's gonna be the 65-year-old man in the club thinking he still got it, while everybody else is laughing at him and wanting him to go home. Like, oh, y'all. We then see Paige. She's at the apartment that they were, of course, supposed to share together. She's packing up all her belongings and she's moving out. Now, I don't know what was going on with the wig in this scene or the confessionals, but baby, that red jumpsuit, everything. I just hope this situation does not damage her to an extent that it is not repairable, because she already seemed like she had a little bit of esteem issues. So going through all this, and then hopefully her now seeing this replay on TV where she's able to like see the things that he has had to say about her, I just really hope she can recover. Get your therapist on the line right now, Paige girl. Get them both on the line. So Pastor Cal and Vincent meet up. He says that, you know, him and Bree, they've been having so much fun since day one. Some of the challenges that they've had is mainly communication, because Bree thinks a certain way and Vincent has a short attention span. He says he also want to talk to her about getting up early, because I guess on the weekends it seems that she gets up early and then she wants him up, although he's still tired, and that's an issue. And I'm like, oh, that is so minor. Y'all can figure that out. It is just not that big of a deal. I really wanted him to bring up the respect thing, because we know he kind of harped on that in the beginning, but he didn't bring it up. And I'm like, I think that would have been helpful to clear the air on what respect looks like for you and what respect looks like for her, so that y'all can see if y'all on the same page about this whole disrespect that he keeps bringing up. Bree is meeting with Dr. Pepper, and she talks about all the high points. They're doing good. She asks her about challenges, and she also says communication, which is great that they actually both think that they have the same problem, because I think that makes it a little bit easier to fix kind of once they just get to the root of how they communicate differently. I think they can better then interpret what the other one kind of means, even if it's not necessarily how they would receive it, if that makes sense. She also says that, financial stability seems to be important for him. And I'm like, Bree, that's no brainer, but I get maybe why you want a deeper story than that. And then she talks about, of course, the children and starting a family, because he's also ready to start a family in the next year or two. She's not so much. And she shares with us that she actually has high blood pressure. I guess it's hereditary with her, because obviously she's in good shape. She says, no matter how much she works out or eats, she's still going to have it. So, of course, that's definitely very dangerous when it comes to pregnancy and childbirth with preeclampsia. So I totally get, that's a real fear that she should have, because that childbirth, while it's an everyday occurrence, it is very, very serious. So I get her on that. Lastly, Pastor Cal meets with Jacob and Haley. And Jacob, I was like, hey, Jacob, you coming in here with, your hair all cute. You got a little beard situation going on. Got a little suit jacket on. I said, you need to take this version of Jacob home to Haley, and then she'll be ready to let you blow her back out one more time. I'm just saying. He was like, okay, you a little cute. You might be a little cute, Jacob. So he says that the entire time he's basically been playing by her rules, and he thinks that she does not want to make a connection. I kind of get that. I get both sides on that, because when they show, her trying to talk with him, he doesn't really open up that much as well. So I think they both play in that. He says that one question he has that he would ask her why she pulled back in Vegas. And if I'm not mistaken, and they kind of did a playback, she's kind of already answered that question. It's not maybe what he wanted to hear. So that's why he wants to address it again. But I'm like, she answered it in such a way. And I think also her friends answered it when she was like, she gave a lot and then she kind of pulled back and reclused herself again. I mean, that's what it was, Jacob. I think he may be either looking for something deeper, or he wants confirmation that it was 100% about his looks, because I feel like that's what he thinks it is. When Dr. Pepper is talking to Haley, she talks about the good things. She's like, he's stable, good job, good house, he's loyal, everything like that. But she says that they just can't seem to find common ground or connection with him. And Dr. Pepper says basically because y'all have not been able to get to know and experience each other on a deeper level. So y'all need to make that deeper connection. And again, I feel like that's where it's hard, because as Haley is trying to get to know him, he's not getting really deep. And it's just like, at what point do you just get annoying and frustrated that I just keep asking these questions and it's getting nowhere? So I get that. Dr. Pepper says that basically Haley is looking for someone to just drop into her life and fit in. And I think both of them were looking for somebody like that. While I feel like Jacob was more open to making some adjustments and changes, Haley maybe not so much, or it's a lot harder or longer for her to come around to making those adjustments, where, she wanted somebody just to, look good, fit into what she wanted to do. He wants somebody, with a strong nose or chin or whatever he said, and somebody to love the 80s like he does. So, they wanted that on both sides. Haley says that, going through this has just been really a struggle for her, because her parents have always had high expectations of her. She has high expectations of herself. So going through this process and kind of not necessarily being good at it, she feels like a failure. So I want her to go to therapy to address that issue, because she's definitely carrying on the childhood stuff into adulthood in her relationships. When Bree and Vincent get back home, they talk about their visits with the experts. So Bree brings up the finances and how they each value money. She wants to enjoy the money that she, is making, and wants to, go out and play hard, work hard, play hard. Vincent says that he's kind of just not at that point in his life anymore, and he's more so focused on the future. And I think while neither one of them are wrong, because they technically, besides each other in a household, they don't have any kids as a responsibility right now. But again, if you're going to be together, you have to think about the future and how that plays a role. And again, y'all don't have kids yet, so you do need to start budgeting for that stuff. These kids are expensive in these streets. I'm going to need y'all to be ready for that. So they're just going to have to figure out some sort of middle ground on, what that looks like. Because I also know Vincent probably feels some sense of responsibility of being the man, and he's traditional, and he does want to have these kids and start his new business, that if things go south, I, as the man, need to pick up the slack or do what I have to do, which I don't think Bree thinks that way, but he has that pressure on himself of making sure that his family is okay. So I'm sure that's why he feels a sense of wanting to save and not spend so much money on kind of unnecessary things than Bree does. They talk about this whole situation of her getting up early and him wanting to sleep in. And I'm like, y'all, this is so petty, but here we are talking about it. She wants to get up early because she thinks, you can get things done. And then they start talking about compromises. And she's like, oh, maybe we can go to bed earlier. Or, you just be on your phone and that keeps your brain moving. So, maybe you should just get off your phone. And I'm like, Bree, homegirl, that ain't a compromise. That's still him doing what you want to do. A compromise is more so like, every other weekend, I'll let you sleep in and I won't wake you up because you're tired. Or if I do wake you up early, I'll let you take a nap, during the day and won't bother you for a few hours. That is a compromise, girl. Get it together, Bree. I'm going to need you to stop being like that. So then she does talk about, her fear of her blood pressure and being pregnant and having children. Vincent does look very worried because he is definitely, it's no question, he wants kids. He keeps talking about a scenario of him being on his deathbed and his kids surrounding him. So that is definitely something he absolutely wants. So I don't know what the fix is going to be for that for them. Like, they're really going to have to figure out, Bree has to figure out if she's willing to basically risk her health to have a child, because I think if she can figure that out sooner, then she can let him know so he can decide whether he's okay with where they are, with maybe getting a surrogate or adopting or whatever, or if he wants to actually just move on. Because, kids, like religion and politics, I think, are complete deal breakers. So I don't know what the fix is, but good luck, y'all. Jacob and Haley finish off the episode with talking about their meetings with the experts. Jacob shares that he's afraid that this is his last shot. He's closer to 40. So he seems to essentially be afraid of messing up, and thinking that if he messes this up, then that is it for him. But I know how that can feel, but people fall in love every day of all ages. So Jacob, I think you need to not think about it that way and just enjoy the time. And no, if this doesn't work out, you're not 98 years old on your deathbed and not being able to find a life partner. It is okay. Haley brings up the past 10 years and how he doesn't really talk about it much. And he then kind of opens up a bit, saying that the past 10 years, he's, seeing his friends, get married and have children. And that was not him. So, after a few years, he started kind of panicking, and then he was just kind of out looking to find a wife and finding a mate. So that's really what has used up the past 10 years of his life, of probably being jealous and a little resentful of his friends, and then trying to actually find that when he just wasn't successful all those years of trying to find somebody to be married to. So that was hard, but I'm glad that he was actually able to share that. And it seems that they're just basically fighting each other. Like, they, have these huge disagreements or arguments, and then Haley pulls away, and then he realizes he messes up. He says sorry. And when he says sorry, he thinks that things are supposed to go back to, normal per se, what it is for them to start, getting close to each other, when for her, it takes a bit longer for her to come back around to being able to enjoy his company. And sometimes before she's even able to get there 100%, they get into another argument and it pulls her just further back. So it's just like butting heads all the time. But they do agree that they both want to continue to give it a shot and see what happens. So I don't know. I'm beginning to be a little bit hopeful for them. If they can continue to have open dialogue and she can see other aspects and attributes of him that she likes. I know the looks may not be 100% there, but I think if she takes the time to get to know him and find things that connect them together, I think she could fall in love with him if she allows herself to do so, y'all. But whew, this was a lot to take in through this episode. It looks like next week Dr. Pepper is back and we having some of the same conversations that we've had with some of the same old, revelations and conversations with the couples. But we'll see what next week brings, y'all. But this week was a doozy talking to Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal. What are y'all thoughts on the episode? Was y'all as annoyed as I was with Chris as he was talking to Pastor Cal? Oh my God. And then Virginia and Eric, they're really, while Chris and Paige, I feel like at this point is done, Virginia and Eric are the couple I hate the most at this point, and more so Eric and not Virginia. All right, chat with me below. And again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on your way out. I love y'all. Talk to y'all next week. Peace.